Hello and welcome to today's Delta Credit Tip. So you've solicited the help of a credit repair company and they've made some great suggestions which seem to really work. But those suggestions, turns out, they're fraud. We're going to show you 3 fraudulent techniques that credit repair companies use that can land you, your lender, and your realtor in some hot water if you're not careful. So stay tuned. We'll fill you in on today's Delta Credit Tip. Hello and welcome back to today's Delta Credit Tip. So again, you've hired this credit repair company and they've made some suggestions that can help boost your score, delete things off the credit report, and help you prepare your credit for whatever stage that you've got coming next. Well, a lot of these techniques just so happen to be fraud. So we're going to fill you in on 3 techniques that these credit repair companies use that can land you, your lender, and your realtor in some hot water. And for all you lenders and realtors out there, stay to the end. We've got a special announcement we want to make for you guys that really shows you how in-depth this can get. So hopefully this information is helpful. If so, give us that thumbs up. Don't forget, subscribe and hit the notification bell so that every week as we come out with new information to help you in your credit restoration process, you get that information as soon as we give it, and it helps you right away. All right, so let's talk about number 1, the first way that credit repair companies actually use fraudulent techniques to help repair your credit. And the first is with the actual dispute. Okay, if your credit repair company is just blanketly disputing everything on that credit report, saying it's not mine, that is fraud. And the reason it's fraud is because it is written in the Credit Repair Organizations Act that a credit repair company or a lender or anybody else trying to help you fix your credit, they cannot encourage you to make a statement or claim that's fraud, that's either false in nature or even misleading or even omitting information can be considered fraud. So you want to make sure that if you're going to go through that dispute process, that you have legitimate disputes that you're putting in, that you've taken the time to notice the discrepancies that may be on the credit report and challenge the information in an appropriate way. If you're having difficulty coming up with some of those reasons, check out some of our older videos. We show you how to set up these dispute letters that are articulate and that are to the point where it will actually be a legitimate dispute. All right? So just don't go there and say, it's not mine, and then they come back and say, yes, it is, and you say, it's not mine. 1, it's not very effective, but 2, it's fraud. Now, you're not going to see a lot of people getting arrested over that, but it is still considered fraud. Okay. Number 2, the second way that credit repair companies will boost your score is through a technique called basically buying trade lines. Okay, and you can go and Google online buying trade lines, and there are a slew of people out there that are willing to sell their credit information to put on your credit report, and that's basically how it works. They set you up pretty much as an authorized user on an account on a complete stranger, and that information, when it goes on your credit report, will boost your score. Okay, while that commerce may not be what's technically getting you into trouble, the information being presented to those that are pulling your credit is considered fraud. Okay, and the Fannie Mae guidelines will indicate that there has to be certain levels of involvement that you have with these authorized user trade lines for them to be considered yours and even calculated in the matrix of that lender's decisioning process on whether or not you get the loan. But it is definitively considered mortgage fraud. And so the truth of the matter is let's say you get into the home and something goes wrong and they discover that these authorized user accounts really didn't reflect you in a light that's appropriate to your actual credit behavior, then a lot of the remedies that you may find to get out of that debt aren't available to you because it's going to be considered fraud. Okay. Number 3. This one is what they call a CPN, or it's a credit privacy number. Okay, so you can go online again and buy this credit privacy number. Now, back in like 1974, they made this law where you can withhold your social security number as a form of identification. Okay, and that was really to protect people who were like, famous, or witness protection programs, government officials, that kind of thing. It really wasn't meant to create an alternate ego for you. And actually, the credit privacy number it's a number that's issued out by the Social Security Administration. And there is no derivative of the Social Security number that is for sale. Okay, so you buying this number, typically it's going to be someone who's been deceased, it's going to be from a child, or maybe it's a tax ID number that they just kind of created in mass to start selling. Okay, now speaking of tax IDs, EINs and ITINs, you can apply for credit using those business numbers. Those are business Social Security numbers. Okay, and you can do that if you've got a business, right, with a track history, with income that they can qualify for whatever loan, typically a commercial loan or business line of credit or business credit card or whatever the case may be. But if you're an individual, okay, if you're a sole proprietor, you're using your Social Security number anyway. But if you're using a tax ID to apply for credit, then you have to have some sort of history as a business, right? Again, this is considered mortgage fraud if you use anything other than your Social Security number. Okay, so now for all of you lenders and realtors out there that like to employ credit repair companies to help you get your clients lendable, right, or keep them in your pipeline, you've got to be careful when you're dealing with these credit repair companies. If they're using these techniques, okay, and something goes wrong with that loan, and they discover what you've done or what you've allowed to do or what you put blinders on, especially if it's a track record that has been created, okay, by the time they consider the fraud from the consumer and you, the lender, or you, the realtor, well, now it's organized crime. And that's where they're bringing in RICO laws, and it becomes a much bigger issue. So you've got to be super careful if you're dealing with credit card companies. Okay, you've got to differentiate the techniques that they use and legitimate techniques that won't land you and your license and your career in hot water. All right. So again, hopefully this information helps. If so, give us that thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so that every week when we come out with new stuff, you get it right out of the gate. Share this information. If you're a lender, if you're a realtor, and you know one of your counterparts are using credit repair companies like these MLMs that throw every trick in the book, and to see what sticks, you really got to be careful. Make sure that they're made aware so that everybody can make a choice to make a change. Delta.